Let's bring in Loup Ventures Gene Munster. Gene, always great to speak with you.
Hi, Melissa.
Do you think that the markets have it right in terms of basically shrugging off this news?
Well, this with Section 230, yes, I want to take a step back, and I think your astute panel has captured this well, is that these companies are the fabric of our lives. And because of that, we're just going to continue to see different edges around that regarding more legislation, people being upset, political parties being upset about what happens on all these platforms, competitors being upset about how one company may exert some market force. So we are going to have these continual waves. And the wave we're talking about today is Section 230. And the proposal is essentially to give political parties or give anyone an ability to sue a social media company for libel. Basically, if there was some slander or there was some censorship that was not appropriate. The bottom line with that, and sticking to the topic of today with 230, is that that, in fact, is at the core of this topic that you've discussed a lot about, is the impossibility of legislating truth. That cannot happen. Therefore, that this essentially is going to go nowhere, and that is why investors shrug it off today. But I like where you're going with this. The bigger topic, the more important topic, is what are the other waves ahead? What are the other bigger potential threats of breakup for some of these tech companies, and how should investors navigate that, which undoubtedly will be topical over the next few years?
So in your view, what is the most pressing and realistic regulatory effort to rein in big tech, in your view?
I think the one at biggest risk is relative to Google and how it ties. Google has 42 different products that are tied together. They have a clear monopoly in global search. And for example, how Google Search impacts Google Maps and the impact on local businesses, I think that's something that we're going to see more about. If you kind of work down the list, with Facebook, it's around privacy and some data sharing, which has been, I think, addressed. And then you get to Amazon with what's happening with their how they use AWS to fund its retail approach. That seems like a little bit of a distant argument. And then last is Apple, and are they exerting some sort of pressure on their developers? Are they not treating them well in terms of some of their the take rates? But you can debate whether they have actually a market share to demand. So I think to answer your question, it is individual. There's not one sweeping legislation that's going to impact all tech companies. These regulators and politicians who are looking to gain goodwill will be taking rifle shots at these companies. And I suspect, with the exception of some changes that probably Google will have to make, most of them will come out on the other side in this a couple of years. And I hope regulators ultimately take a step back. And I've been a longtime follower of tech. I try to weigh both sides of all debates. But I think we have seen in the last few weeks the importance of tech in terms of helping us move forward as a globe. And I hope that gains some goodwill with regulators.
Oh, you think that'll make a difference? A regulator who might want to go after an Apple or might want to go after Google will say, you know what, I've been relying on Gmail during this pandemic, and so I'm not gonna go for it. I'm
thinking about let's look at Amazon and logistics and what they've done in the pandemic. And I think that there is a case that consumers view these products. If the goal of regulators is to protect consumers, I think there is a case that consumers have a greater dependency and affection towards these products today than they did 4 months ago.
Right. Good point. Gene, thank you. Always good to speak with you. Gene Munster of Loup Ventures. I think that's an interesting point. It's an interesting point that these politicians are spending a lot of time discussing all these issues surrounding big tech when consumers, for the most part, depend on big tech in their everyday lives, Guy.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, let's not dance around this. I mean, I think, without being political, this is 100% political. I don't think there's any other way to address it. And I'll say this about Google. I mean, my pushback is Google's not a monopoly. I mean, the Yankees aren't a monopoly. There are dozens of other teams that play Major League Baseball. The Yankees happen to do it better than everybody else, and the same thing with Google. There are a lot of search engines. Google just does it better than everyone else. So I understand that's somewhat nuanced, but you know, Google is the cream of the crop, and you can call them a monopoly. I don't think it's a monopoly in the true sense of the word, Mel.
Tim, quickly.
Yeah, the Yankees haven't done it better than the rest of Major League Baseball in how long, Guy? I don't know, 10 years? Anyway, I think I understand your metaphor.